Today's vibe, get all the extra electronics installed in my van before I put up the final wall panels. First item up, my Wii Boost. This is a signal booster. When we put all our curtains up at night, we lose signal.
Check it out, right?
I gotta say, this packaging is pretty nice. Very excited. This is the contraption that is going on top of my van. The exterior antenna made up of the extension and the spring. Today we were installing it on my flatline Vanco roof rack with the proprietary T-track. I have a Promaster. The great thing about these cell boosters is they can be attached anywhere. Today I'm going to show you how I installed it on my rig.
These are what came with the packet, but I had these left over from my roof rack track, so I'm using those to set these in.
I was lucky enough to have my track lock nuts directly from the company. Japanese send Loctite was just super helpful. I've already put it on there. All right, the way my track is set up is it does have to be offset. These holes do not align to these tracks, but that's okay. Per the manual, you really only need one contact point. And I've just offset it right before the track hole. Let's give her the good old wiggle test. She's not wiggling from this. This is pretty sturdy. She will wiggle from up here because that is the journey. That's why we have the spring. I decided to go with the Overland edition, and this one has an articulating arm. The one really important thing you don't want to happen is it to wiggle and slam. So they provide this antenna support. However, she don't fit in the track, as you can see. With the articulating arm, there are keyholes in which the arm locks in place. Unfortunately, that wasn't happening for me in this go-around. What the manual says you can do is ratchet strap this, and it even has like kind of some insets for the, not ratchet, zip ties. Good old wiggle test. She will still wiggle in transit, but she won't be slamming against this, which is important. This seems so like not the move. This extra cable. This cable is going to run from the exterior antenna into the interior antenna. Now the whole point of this antenna system is to amplify surrounding signals. Say you have one bar, the exterior antenna will amplify any signal it can get from a nearby tower. Take that signal, run it through the cable into the interior antenna, where you then can take a gander at your phone and have a boosted signal. No interrupted TikToks for me. All right, so tomorrow morning we will be able to drill that hole, but that cable is run, and there is a plethora of cable to make sure I can go outdoors. I'm feeling confident and good about drilling that hole tomorrow. Now we can install all the extra bits, and tomorrow, after the hole, we can go to the middle of nowhere and get it tested appropriately, because in order to make sure it's actually cell boosting, you need to make sure you got no signal. So I can't wait to go on a little hike tomorrow as well. Till I get this bottom wall panel in, I'm just gonna do a temporary situation for installation. My Wii Boost will be down here and my antenna will be somewhere here by my bed. My hopes is my bluetti comes parked here. There's a wall partition here. Everything is kind of in this general area. This is all a temporary solution, but just a good way to see and understand how everything gets mounted up. Talk about a freaking dang mess. I'm embarrassed. Nobody look. So this is going from the internal antenna to the base, and everything's kind of labeled, which is nice. And then this is our outdoor antenna, real thick like, and that'll go to the top. I could run it through this hole, but like I said, this whole panel is going to come off, and I'm going to do an entire wall installation. I have a DC input that I'm going to put into my bluetti tomorrow. I don't want to power it up just yet.
Editing Betsy here. I realize the next few clips might not make complete sense, so I'm going to give it to you straight. It was hot. I might have ADHD, and I was working in a confined space that might have triggered me to reorganize a few things.
All right, check it. I'm cooking, I'm pulling out my spices, not a problem. Need to grab some vegetables or some food from the fridge. And then if I need something out of the freezer, The bed's not that heavy, so whatever. I just lift, open, not a problem. I mean, it'll just be not a problem until it gets so annoying where I want to spend the money. There's people in like regular houses dealing with more annoying things every day. I'm really racking my brain here. Like, I don't have enough room to eat, like barely move around in here, let alone film and get like a nice wide angle. Ugh. The reason why I wanted this whole left side enclosed was to hang up clothes. It's not a crucial thing I think I need. I don't think it's crucial. Man, making decisions seems to be my biggest feat in this van build. This seems really silly, but I think this is gonna be where I go from here. Okay, so this is a 32.5-inch fridge. So the bodega would sit here, maybe? Here. And I mean, I'm losing a lot of storage space. Okay, the battle I'm fighting. Lots of storage space for long trips or cute and convenient. Jafil? Do you get it? Are you on my side? Sound off in the comments. Let me know if this is fucking crazy. This is gonna be my reality for the next 2 months until I can make a decision. It's gonna be a problem for down the road because I have a trip planned at the end of this month and I gotta get going. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get out of here. Seriously, let me know what the best solution for this might be.
Well, you gotta make a couple mistakes before you really end up liking something. But I'll tell you what, that is ugly. It's not aerodynamic. I hate it. So give us a moment. What's a van build without making a few mistakes? If you recall this image from earlier, I simply removed the extension. Small drill bit, large drill bit, grommet, feed the cable through, butyl, obviously, before you get to this point, make sure you sand and seal your hole with paint. You don't want any rust. And make sure you really get the butyl around all 4 corners. Press and seal. Now make it watertight. I think she looks pretty now.
With the cell booster complete, it is time to take on the task of installing my diesel heater. It's time to get acquainted. This cute little thing, I know I shouldn't be using the word cute, is a 12-volt diesel heater. This is a 5 kilowatt. Your options are usually 2 kilowatt, 5 kilowatt, or 8 kilowatt if you want the full-size heater that should remain outside of your vehicle. These Chinese diesel heaters are notorious for not having great instructions, but you should always take the time to read your specific manual because each one is different, and the model I currently have will probably not be available in 2 months. The listings are constantly getting removed or they're selling out. Webasto sells a great one, but it's out of my price range. I need to go somewhere desolate to fully test out my Wii Boost, but now that I've got it reconfigured, I'm really happy with the positioning. I mean, she's looking real cute now. Again, this is an electronics finishing up video. I need to get this diesel heater installed so I can get that wall up. Diesel heaters come with so many different pieces and there are so many different videos out there, but the basics are you'll have an electronic cable. That electronic cable will need to feed out the fuel pump electricity. So the electricity is going to come out through this wee hole and position itself in this little crevice. We want to do this before we even get to putting this thing in the vehicle. My next step is going to be to put some washers on this plate. This plate I ordered extra. I don't even know what this is called, but it is a like black tubing that gets pinched onto the fuel pipe or any point in which you need to attach this tubing. You have to use this stiff rubber-like material and pinch accordingly. My husband's joined the chaos party, and I'm just getting the exhaust attached. I realize I'm this far into the installation, and this may be the first time you've ever seen a diesel heater or the millionth time you've seen a diesel heater. However, my husband doesn't know what he's looking at, so I'm going to tell you while I tell him. This is your air intake, okay? This is your fuel intake. This is your exhaust. There's an internal intake here, and then the hot air comes out here. This is your fuel line. The fuel line, all of this lives underneath the vehicle. The fuel line is gonna get attached here and run underneath the vehicle into the back where my diesel tank will be. This is a gasoline vehicle. I can't tap into my tank, unfortunately. This is gonna be your fuel pump and then the fuel filter. This is how that goes. Yes. I've even made a little note for myself. All the diesel goes into the reservoir, and then it then goes through the filter, pumps it into the pump, and then the fuel pump sends it to this cable here. So, and this will also live underneath the vehicle. This needs to be angled también. Power also runs to the pump, which is the power that I set aside earlier. Do you have any questions? Is there any pieces that I haven't explained? Okay. Come on in. Go closer. We're trying to figure out exactly where we are going to line up our big hole. And we're thinking this area is going to make the most sense for where we want it. So there's this piece of butyl here. And the benefit of filming everything is I can just go back and screenshot and see my naked floor. And we see here, that is that hole. So I know for sure that I'm going to have the space that I need inside my van to make this spacing work for my diesel heater. I'm just a little win in the chaos of trying to figure this out, you know? This has been a little stressful trying to figure out where are we going to cut this big hole in our van? Well, I've got all the documents. I got the receipts. She's smoking. Should probably just check, make sure everything's good still down there. Oh, there's a hole in the floor.
Anytime you cut a hole, you gotta file and seal with paint. Time for some transparency. This hole here is going to get blasted with heat, so it's important that we protect the materials in between. I started off with a fire block, but shortly realized fire blocker isn't really meant to be outside or exposed to the elements or exposed to water. Fire block is a product that once exposed to heat, once exposed to water, loses its full capability and starts to flake. So what I did was add JB Well steel putty. The reason why I was frantically trying to figure out what to add here is because I didn't have the aluminum can to protect the elements. After digging in my garage and my pile of deliveries, I did find it and did install it. My recommendation is to add the fire blocker and then add the steel tube.
And allow me to give you some insight. The reason I'm choosing to go through all this extra effort after I already put the fire blocker, that technically will start flaking. I'm gonna say it will start flaking in under a year. If I put the ring, not gonna be exposed to the elements. Let me give you a little peek-see. It doesn't cover everything entirely, but all of this is JB Weld, the steel putty, and then everything up here underneath it is the fire blocker. So it will not be getting exposed to water, which was my biggest concern. I've already used the fire blocker, and I know that it being exposed to heat on and off, it does flake, and it being exposed to water and the elements. It is an interior construction adhesive. There is the red one, and doesn't really imply that it's for external use either, so.
This is not a beginner project. Let me be frank. The next few days were a mess. Brackets didn't fit. I needed to find somewhere to put these self-tapping screws. So this is how my air intake is mounted. I try to use the sidewall to mount the fuel pump. Don't do that. It's double metal. It doesn't work. I'm running my fuel over here. Everyone attaches their fuel pump and all their fuel accessories in this region. And it's because this is the only place you can really screw in. And I'm gonna run the fuel line through here, and then up into the wall. There's two portions of the wall that are plugged. So there's the inner wall, which you cannot access from the inside of the van, and then there's the outer wall, which you can.
Look in here. Oh, you can actually see it via the camera much better than I was anticipating.
Hose will run in the wall over this and here. I didn't run this hose very far, but this is all we got left. So I'd say we're doing pretty dang good.
So now that all of that's installed, what I need to do is get some diesel and test the unit before I fully install the unit into the floor. I don't want to put the sealant until I have and I know that everything is working. So those are my next steps. And also I gotta go to somewhere desolate to test the cell booster.
Unfortunately, when I installed this metal piece to the fuel tank, I did go too wide and I had a fuel leak. The only way to unfortunately solve it was to seal it up with some leak-proof products.
As of right now, it is not leaking. So that's a win.
Other people's, it's the bottom, but on mine, it is settings and down arrow. And I'm gonna prime for 120 seconds. Sure. And then to start stop, it's just this. We're seeing the little pumping symbol.
This is very exciting. I'm priming.
But we definitely have no more air bubbles in the line. So I think we're good to test it out.
This is it for me for the night. I have an air code. I can't figure it out. I'll see you in the morning.
Whoa, buddy. Today is really a morning where it's icy cold, and having this heater would be nice. So let's see if we can get this working.
This is the issue I'm running into. Check it. This is our circuit panel. This is the little clip that holds in the circuit board. And you hear that? So right now, she's working. Initially, this was wedged up so tight that this wasn't really rotating and getting stuck. So I loosened this Allen, which I'm going to do again, and I brought it as far back as I could. Now I'm going to remove this again so I can assess what the best course of action is for this silly little thing. Okay, so what's really hitting is this magnet on the attachment point. Any other isn't so bad. Yeah. What do I do? What I'm thinking is grabbing a nail file, because it's not the it's a little of the base, and this is kind of crooked. If I can take off like 1 millimeter of plastic, I think it'll be okay. But alright. Oh. Did I do it? Ah, did I do it? Okay. Oh, watch out now.
Oh, I want to mention this for sure. See that little red plug? That means that it's like igniting. I was thinking that was like an issue. It is not. If it's blinking, then you have an issue. There's not many videos that talk about that, but that plug is going to be on. Right now, she's got a little hum. I would deem that manageable. It was a click before. That's the temperature inside. That's the temperature in the unit. That's the time. That's the voltage. Okay, that's the mode it's in. Right now,
I am going through my D40, and I have my lights on, and it has, I mean, it surges when you turn it on to like 200. The D40 will tap out at 300 watts. So I definitely will not probably be able to use my diesel heater with my water pump in my kitchen. Okay, the air's cold. Not fun. This is a good sign. When I walked up, white smoke was coming out. This is good. Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. I can confirm it's blowing warm air inside now. Oh, that's warm. That's nice. Me happy. Oh yeah. So let's just check in here. It says that the fuel pump is fuel pumping, and that's the internal temp. That's the temperature out, like in my environment. Okay. 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 Things are working. I do have my fire extinguisher here because it is alarming seeing all that smoke. But okay. 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 She's a diva. She works hard. That's an update of outside. It's still going. We're like maybe 2 minutes in. Apparently with the first 5, it's gonna do that. Man, that is so nice. My hands are extra cold this morning. And the inside temp is 168 and rising, 13 degrees Celsius out in the room. We've dropped down to 46 degrees. That's pretty dope. I was a little unsure if I was gonna get it to work, but she's working. And she's twerking, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, my job is done here. I just need to seal it to the ground, and I need to get that cell booster up and going, and I need to clean up my mess. Roll the tape. I am trying to get this set up at the moment. Test current signal. We need to put power first, so let's do that. The older models don't have an on-off switch. This one does. On, I got a green light on the indicator.
So everything in the app is only for registration. It's only a troubleshooting tool. It's not needed for it to work at all.
And I got all the way to the test current signal strength. And how I'm calling you guys is because I went to a desolate area, I was able to just switch on the overland reach, and I was able to call you guys. So I mean, I know it's working because it went from 0 bars to 3.
Oh, perfect.
But I wasn't sure if I needed to do anything else in app to make it happen.
Nope.
Cool.
The app is totally optional.
All right. Well, I appreciate your help. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye. Were you listening? Just to reiterate what I'm doing, I was going in the app to see if I could get the app going, but apparently there's, other than registration and troubleshooting, the app isn't really necessary for anything, which is nice to know. So just to give you a quick once over, right now we've got 2 bars and we've got 5G. I'm gonna power this down. And just like that, I've dropped to 1 bar and LTE. I'm gonna power it back on. And 2 bars, 5G. So it's giving me something, which is nice. So I'm gonna use my phone as the hotspot and see on my iPad what kind of signal it's giving me. So that's my hotspot from my phone. Not super strong. That's not good. Your internet connection is very slow. So the hotspot situation, not doing too hot. Positive note, at least my kid's YouTube is loading. Working?
All right, you may take this. We're gonna do a speed test on my phone. Oh boy. That's better than nothing. So that's my results. 11 megabits per second and 4.87 on the upload speed. We're gonna kill it. You saw it here. That's the comparison. Well, thanks for watching this episode. I conquered the diesel heater and I paired it with the cell booster. I gotta tell you what, sometimes when you are doing so many projects, having an easy and a hard one combined together, it really seems like the way to do it. The diesel heater, as you saw, I had to really manipulate it to get it up and running. And then the cell booster was kind of just plug and play. I'm super grateful. My next video will either be my kitchen cabinet or my Texas journey. I'm gonna go really conquer fear. Jeepers creepers terrified me growing up. And I said, I'll never visit Texas. Well, what do you know? I got a family member who lives in Texas. And while I'm over there going to that wedding that they're having, I am going to visit some awesome places. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, because your girl has got some goals to hit. And I love talking to you guys in my comments about, you know, what you are doing, your goals, maybe even that I'm motivating you, or even like some troubleshooting issues you're having. I like to help. I like to learn. I'm having fun.